planning to introduce me? You know who you are. Right. So I am Cheryl Clark, and what I remember from the bio is that my spiritual path started young because I was raised Protestant by parents who were originally Catholic and Jewish. So I have been a member here since 1998, I think. I became a practitioner in 2011. So I've worn a number of hats here, including occasionally speaking. So here I am today. Thank you. It is indeed a pleasure to see you all out there this morning, and there are two notable absences. One has already been mentioned, and the other is Reverend Bonnie, who is returning from a trip this morning. And in terms of her absence, all I can say is, when the cat's away, the mice play. And the other absence, Teresa was sharing with you about Skip, our dear friend and guy in the sound booth. I think over the next few days and months, and we will have numerous opportunities to reflect and to give thanks for the gift he was in our lives.
May I please skip?
And I think that his musical self and his playful self would really appreciate what we're going to do here this morning. So I just propose that we dedicate this service to him and let this be the first celebration. That said, I also wanted to share with you that Anna, his beloved dog, is currently at my house.
All right.
And she is doing fine, adapting to a big grassy yard, running after balls and frisbees, and playing with our big dogs. I do want to let you know that we're looking around and just trying to make the determination of the very best home for her. See me afterwards. She is a 2-year-old chocolate lab mix, very friendly. She appears to get along well with other dogs. But as we know, she has spent her life with a human pretty much nonstop. So I think it would be ideal if we could find somebody that worked at home or was retired or something along those lines. But we'll kind of consider everybody and see what best meets her needs. So see me after the service. So, talking about celebrations, you know, sometimes I'll glance at some words and I just read them sort of half-consciously. And the other day, I glanced at this cover and it said, Sunday celebration, and half of my mind is thinking, Sunday celebration, why are they celebrating Sunday? Why aren't they celebrating Thursday? What's so important about Sunday? And then the voice says, no, this is not a celebration of Sunday. It's a celebration that happens to take place on Sunday. So, of course, then the next question is, what are they celebrating? And I have to pause and think, you know, I'm not a person that's been to many parties over my lifetime. I've organized even fewer. Haven't been to many celebrations, but then I thought, this takes place every week, and here I am. What have I been celebrating all this time? This seems like a mismatch. So as I pondered that a little bit more, I decided that what I'm celebrating when I come here is you, is all of us. And I'd like to try to explain why that is. So we are godlets, as Tina Bailey would say. We are microcosmic images of the macrocosm, we might also say. And I'd like to share a reading that is attached to what Beth read for us earlier. It says, all emerge from that one whose being is ever present and whose life, robed in numberless forms, is manifest through all creation. Creation is the logical result of the outpush of life into self-expression. I love that word, outpush. It is the coming forth of spirit into manifestation. The one encompasses and flows through all, spilling itself into numberless forms and personalities. These forms and personalities, propelled by the cosmic urge which brings them into being, have within themselves an impulse planted by the divine. And since the divine is limitless and perfect, it must and ultimately will bring all creation into a state of perfect manifestation. So Reverend Bonnie Allen Rice, who came down from Albuquerque to speak here a couple weeks ago, Bonnie the Elder, I will refer to her as, made reference to how spirit works through all of our lives for the highest good. And so we are these creative beings because we are the product of a creative source. And Reverend Bonnie the Elder also made reference to how spirit is this unformed stuff, and we co-create with spirit, bringing it into form by moving spirit, or we move spirit into form by creating a mental equivalent and holding that thought, that idea, that vibration. If you noticed, it's probably in the bulletin, I guess, the affirmation for this month, which goes, your thoughts and beliefs are the keys to co-creating your life with divine spirit. So here we are, busy thinking, and what we see out picturing in our life is a result of our thought. Science of Mind says that the out picturing of our lives represents what we have mentally been embracing, and our thoughts come into fruition. It kind of reminds me of an analogy that was used some years ago. There was a young woman who spoke here, and she used a fishing analogy. She said, if you go out and you're fishing and you don't like what you've caught, check your bait. And I think that is a good analogy for how our lives are unfolding. So I have no doubt that I am very, very responsible for how I react to things in my life and how things are showing up. And I have to say that I don't think I'm really doing too badly, considering that at least half to 3/4 of the time, I'm not even conscious of what I'm thinking or doing. So nonetheless, things are turning out reasonably well. And I believe that I bring my personal world into being, but I'm not audacious enough to think that I, as an individual, have created the whole world that is out picturing right now. I think we do that together. So then I take a look at what's out picturing in the world right now. And again, although some of you may disagree with me, I think we're doing pretty good, considering that we as individuals haven't quite mastered what's showing up in our lives. It stands to reason that what's showing up in the external world would probably have, let's say, some warts, I don't know, lumps and bumps. So I have to say, whatever you're doing, whatever we're doing, I think we need to do more of it. And there's no straight path, as Holmes mentioned in that reading, to the state of perfect manifestation. There's no straight path there. When you think about being a pilot, you're never totally on target to the destination. There's course correction after course correction. The same thing happens when you might be trying to lose weight. You lose a few pounds, you gain a few ounces. You lose a few ounces, you gain a few pounds. And it's a process of give and take, and you're moving in a forward direction. Similarly, maybe you're trying to learn another language. You learn some vocabulary and the phrases, and you use them for a while. And then you get busy with something else, and you go back and you realize you can't remember how to say hello in Russian. And you have to study it again and brush up. So it takes some effort, constant course corrections. So I think many of us come here on a regular basis for those course corrections. And I think there are also many, many, many opportunities and experiences and tools in our community and the world at large that also help us in that process of course correcting, getting back in alignment. So I'd like to share with you a couple examples of some of those supports that are out there. Number one, let's see, focus on, number one was DeWitt Jones. He is a photographer, and he worked for the National Geographic for 20 years, taking photographs. And he said that every time they sent me out, they would ask me to celebrate what's right with the world. I did, and it changed my life. Every day, I see images that make me want to celebrate. And so in the year 2001, he developed a film that he called Celebrate What's Right with the World. But I like the subtitle even better. Subtitle, Change Your Lenses, Change Your Life. Ring any bells? So in 2012, he says, I gave myself the challenge of finding and photographing something to celebrate every day, and then share those photos on Facebook. The response to my daily celebrations has been incredible, but nothing compared to what happened when I invited the rest of the world to post their own photos of celebration. So Science of Mind also tells us that what we focus on, never thought about, there's a pun in there. Never thought about that pun, photography, focus, anyway. What we focus on expands. And this is what DeWitt Jones, this one person, is doing to help himself consciously focus on the good. And he's leading other people to do that with him. I venture to say that there are way more people like him in the world than there are those that are not leading us or showing us a way to bring good into our lives. How do I know that? By looking at what's out picturing in the world. I just see good everywhere. Another example, based on the realization that we don't exist as individuals, but as a collective, we interact, we're all contributing, and I just look at what's being created. In the year 2000, the time of the millennium, the UN got together, the representatives there got together, and they developed 17 goals. They called them the Millennial Development Goals. And goal number one was the goal to eradicate extreme poverty from the planet by the year 2030. They defined extreme poverty as having less than $1.25 in your pocket every day, and not only having that little, or let's turn this around, to get out of extreme poverty, you would have more than $1.25 in your pocket. And not only would you have that cash, but you would actually have access to food and water and clothing and sanitation and health care and education and environmental security and so on. That $1.25 was subsequently raised to $1.90, but the premise is the same. So somebody, can you bring up that slide, please, Larry? Somebody took all the data that the UN receives, the World Bank receives from all the countries around the world, and they generated this thing called the World Poverty Clock. And it's hard to see, I'm sure you get the sense that there are these little figures running across the screen. And those of you that are close enough might see that some of those figures are black and some are red. And the black figures are representing those people, just as these seconds click by, this is a real-time streaming, those are people that are escaping from extreme poverty. And the red people are representing people that are falling into extreme poverty today. So we're making progress towards that goal overall, even though there's 2 steps forward and 1 step back. The progress, the movement is in a positive direction. I just get fascinated by, I can sit and stare at this for hours because I just love seeing those black figures running across. The numbers over on the left, it says 1.5. In order to reach that goal by the year 2030, 1.5 people would have to be escaping per second. And we're currently only at 1 person per second. So you see where we need to bring that up. We'll leave that up there for a moment. I would like to go on and share with you that in the year 2015, so halfway towards the goal between the year 2000 and 2030, the UN convened again and reviewed their goals. And the preamble that they created at that time goes like this. It's a little lengthy, but I love these words and I want to share them with you. It says, "This agenda is a plan of action for people, planet, and prosperity. It also seeks to strengthen universal peace in larger freedom. We recognize that eradicating poverty in all its forms and dimensions, including extreme poverty, is the greatest global challenge and indispensable requirement for sustainable development. All countries and all stakeholders acting in collaborative partnership," which kind of reminds me of our vision statement here, a world in loving partnership for the good of all. So acting in collaborative partnership, we will implement this plan. We are resolved to free the human race from the tyranny of poverty and want, and to heal and secure our planet. We are determined to take the bold and transformative steps which are urgently needed to shift the world onto a sustainable and resilient path. As we embark on this collective journey, we pledge that no one will be left behind. The 17 Sustainable Development Goals and 169 targets, which we are announcing today, demonstrate the scale and ambition of this new universal agenda. They seek to build on the Millennial Development Goals and complete what these did not achieve. They seek to realize the human rights of all and to achieve gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls. They are integrated and indivisible and balance the 3 dimensions of sustainable development: the economic, social, and environmental. So I think this is how it starts. A group of people come together, they have an idea, they put it into words, they put it on paper, they send it out, and they begin to act. And so this clock is an indicator of the unfolding of that vision, the beginning of its manifestation. A couple of weeks ago, Teresa, who was up here earlier, shared a reading, and the reading included this line: "The world is the sum of all our thoughts." And so I don't know how it works, but I love that you are creating this. I celebrate you. That's, I think, why I'm here on Sunday, to celebrate the fact that we as a collective can bring about this kind of action. So yay us. Now, there might be some people out there, and maybe I hear this voice saying, "Yeah, but what about this problem? What about that disaster?" And I say, dismiss it. Science of mind tells us that we draw into our lives more of what we focus on. So in the next few minutes, we're going to practice focusing on something as a group, focus as one, on happiness and fun. And so we can contribute that to the world pot of thought. So, as you know, the theme for this month was you hold the key. And when I think about holding the key, I get this image of this metal item in my hand that's used to unlock something. I'm holding it, so I haven't used it yet. It's a potential that hasn't been enacted. Bonnie the Younger, in one of her talks, talked about how are you going to use this key to turn something on in your life. I thought that was a nice analogy. And she also quoted Ernest Holmes, where he said, "We are the instrument through which spirit expresses. We are the instrument through which life flows." So if we are instruments, perhaps we're like musical instruments, resonating, vibrating in a particular key. Perhaps we could say a musical key. So we are a vibrating instrument that resonates with thoughts that are then brought into manifestation. It's a constant thing, this vibration, and we can allow it to flow more or less freely and clearly through us. So remember, back in the reading, I mentioned the cosmic urge. And it said, "These forms and personalities propelled by the cosmic urge, which brings them into being," that's us, "have within themselves an impulse implanted by the divine." An impulse. Okay, Larry, why don't you silence the clock for now? Thanks. So we could actually look at our physical pulse as a representation of the cosmic urge. So I invite you at this moment to see if you can find your pulse wherever it works easiest for you, in your neck or your wrist. And if you can't find it, just pretend you kind of know how it goes. Bump, bump. And I invite you, as each beat takes place, to silently in your mind say the word no with each beat. No, no. Now change that word to maybe. And now change it to yes. Okay. Have any preference? Yes. Yes? Is yes the universal choice? Yes. Yes, it is. So again, referring to that quote, "Since the divine is limitless and perfect, it must and ultimately will bring all creation into a state of perfect manifestation as we allow the truth to operate through us, to pulse through us, that nonverbal affirmation of life. Yes, yes, yes." I, too, resonate with that word yes, and I notice that no matter what kind of emotional state I'm in, no matter what's going on around me, has nothing to do with the fact that this still wants to say yes, yes. But then I have to take a step back if I'm saying, I resonate with the word yes. Well, what is this I that I'm talking about? What is this awareness that reminds me that the choice of yes is the best match? You know, a musical key is a set of certain notes that keep coming back to a particular starting point, the tonic note. And I think we resonate, let's say, in the cosmic key, that despite our worldly experiences, this tonic note, yes, yes, resides in us, this Om, as you will. It vibrates, it's a vibration that represents who we truly are. And it's the frequency that's working through our thoughts on behalf of the divine, bringing about that state of perfect manifestation. That's the key, the frequency that we're all holding, even when we're not conscious of it. It's still going on, isn't it? We individually try to bring about improvements in our lives. If we like the results, we keep doing whatever we're doing. When we don't like what's out picturing, we need a tune-up. We need to get in alignment with the cosmic key. And similarly, when we like what we're seeing in the world, or there's something that we want to see more of, we can support that by acting consciously in communion with others. And there are many ways to resonate together with other people. We can share a meal. We can discuss something that's of interest. We can give a gift. We can enjoy a beautiful view together. And of course, there's music. And you know, if I sing, "Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you," I'm staying on key. And you could easily join in with me. But if I sing, "Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear me," you get the idea. It's much easier to join in with me when I'm in the key, in tune. So you know, our musical director, Mary Lynn, consciously was looking over there for you. Consciously participated in the formation of Onefold, which started out with members of her family, and I think their goal was to use music to guide people into a positive state of mind. She then consciously evolved Onefold the Choir, which is being used to guide or give kids and adults the chance to come together and consciously focus on positive interactions through music. So this morning, you are drafted. We have the opportunities to come together and let's create something right now as a group. Let's practice that conscious focus. Instead of you having to hold the key individually, we're going to hold it together. Well, at least I hope we hold it together. Okay. So I'm going to go over here. And I'm going to, Larry, can you bring up those lyrics? You're going to learn a piece of a song right now. And in a little bit, we'll put it together with the original Onefold Choir. Huh. All right. Okay. So we have these notes. If you can sing those two notes, you got like 90% of it made. So it's going to be, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Try it with me. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Very nice. Next one. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Did I neglect to tell you that this is the song Happy by Pharrell Williams?
Yeah.
All right. Let's try that second line again. Clap along if you feel happiness is the truth. Here we go. Clap along if you know that happiness is to you. Do that again. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. And the last line. Clap along if you feel that's what you want to do. All right, so some people already know this, and the rest of you, it's easy enough to pick up. Let's put all those 4 lines together. All right. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel happiness is the truth. put this all together, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Clap along. That's how you're going to know when to come in. Can we just try that? Here's your note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Clap along. Okay, stop. Do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Clap along. Okay, that's your entrance. Now I need to teach you one more little piece. All right, the final word, happy, we're going to use that 4 times. And you'll simply go, happy, or happy, wherever it works best for you. Happy, happy, once more, happy. All right, and your cue for that one is going to look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, happy. I'm going to throw that at you, all right? 1, 2, 3, 4, happy. Do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, happy. Okay, what's this one? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and this one? Happy. They got it. All right. The clap along verse will repeat a number of times. You just watch me, you'll know when to come in. The happies just occur once and then they're gone. All right, so I think we learned our part.